This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Penn, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shannon Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fan, the Preacher Man.
Welcome today to another edition of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones. Good day. Hey, Shannon, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm sitting here in the wilderness of my home.
Oh, you're at home in the wilderness. Tell me, how did you feel when you come out the wilderness? Come out the wilderness. Come out the wilderness, leaning on the Lord. My brother in the wilderness, out there in the wild with the wild. So Shannon, let's get ready to get started with the program today. You doing all right though? Look like you done froze up out there in that wilderness. I mean, you might need to come back on this side. Well, anyway, Shannon will be back in a minute. You know, he's freezing. He's out there in the wilderness. You know, he like that camping life and all that other stuff. But anyway, we're going to have a great program today. We're going to be doing this all. We're going to be talking about January 6th. The insurrection. We're going to even feature the mother and the daughter, Ms. Ruby, and her daughter, who was accused of stuffing ballots and was at the Senate hearing and gave testimony to, you know, what actually happened. That Mr. Giuliani and Mr. Trump tried to make like they was cheating. They weren't cheating. They were doing their job. And then because of that, they were criticized and ostracized and even threatened. People threatened to take their lives. So we're going to have them. And then Mr. Rosenberger and his assistant who was there to talk about how Mr. Trump tried to get them to steal the election for him in Georgia. But we'll be back because, Shannon, I told you, we're going to always be talking about the insurrection until this thing is done. And we'll be back on the other side with more with yours truly, Greg Fan, the Preacher Man, and Shannon Jones right here on what? Straight Talk. Now, Miss C.
Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Hey, Greg. Hey, Shannon. How y'all doing over there? Good to see you. Listen, this is my new summer look. Summer is here, and so I thought I would just, get into the summer mood. And I'm telling you, summer is here, and it is hot. But anyway, I'm ready for it. I love the heat. I just didn't know it was going to get hot so quick. But anyway, let me tell you, because it is summertime, the Red Cross needs your help. I mean, really, really, really needs your help. And if you can donate blood, hold a blood drive, or donate, please do. Because this time of year, people are traveling, they're on vacation, or maybe they just don't feel like it. But please, give blood. You can find a blood drive. You can go to 1-800-7. You can call 1-800-733-2767 to find out a blood drive in your area, or you can go to redcrossblood.org. You can give, donate, or find a blood drive at redcrossblood.org. Okay, do your part. New Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church at 1385 Gus Thornhill Jr. Drive in East Point invites you to Sunday school at 9 a.m., Sunday morning worship at 10:30 a.m., and Wednesday Bible study at 7 p.m. Call 404-766-8117 for more information. Reverend Thomas G. Ashford is pastor. St. Mark AME at 3605 Campbellton Road in Southwest Atlanta invites you every Sunday at 10 a.m. You can worship with them in person, or you can watch live. You can go to their website at stmarkatl.org. That's stmarkatl.org. And they have all the ways that you can watch them, and they also have their Zoom ID listed. You can call them at 404-349-6800. That's 404-349-6800. You can catch someone there Monday through Thursday from 10:30 to 2:30. Reverend Forrest Dickey is pastor. Now listen, there's something I'd like for you to do. 4 things. Okay, I'd like for you to subscribe. I'd like for you to like us, leave us a comment, and share us. We would love that if you would do that for us. We sure would help us out. This has been, oh, I forgot. You can also send me your events, a family reunion, class reunion, any kind of event you'd like for me to let the world know about. Send it to Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. That's Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. And we see you next time. Stay cool, okay?
Well, thank you, Miss C. Miss C, dressed for the summer. Sunglasses, new hairdo, just doing it, Miss C. You're doing it. Hey, listen, get your information in the Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com and send it in just like the other ministers and people are sending in flyers to us so we can show it, and Miss C will definitely promote it right here on Straight Talk. That's all you got to do. And I want to give a shout out to my dear friend in Virginia, the president of the SCLC of Virginia, Bill McGee, classmate, and he's doing a stellar job there in D.C. dealing with racism in the D.C. area. Thank you so much for your service, Brother Bill. Now listen, Shannon, we're going to get ready to go now to the clip with Mrs. Moss and Mrs. Moss, who testified, her mother, Ms. Ruby, who and she's going to be telling about what Trump and Giuliani did to her family and have messed up her family and messed her mentally. And we'll talk about it on the other side. How about that, Shannon? How about that?
That's great.
That's great. And you out there in the wild. I see you in the wild.
Now, all the absentee ballots for the elderly, disabled people. I even remember driving to an hospital to give someone her absentee application. That's what I love the most.
So you really enjoyed helping people vote and participate, and that was something, the right to vote that your grandmother taught you was precious.
Yes.
Well, I know the events that we're here to talk about today are incredibly difficult to relive. Your proud service as an election worker took a dramatic turn on the day that Rudy Giuliani publicized a video of you and your mother counting ballots on election night. President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and others claimed on the basis of this video that you and your mother were somehow involved in a plot to kick out observers, bring suitcases of false ballots for Biden into the arena, and then run them through the machines multiple times. None of that was true, was it?
None of it.
I'd like to show you some of the statements that Rudy Giuliani made in a second hearing before the Georgia state legislators, a week after that video clip from State Farm Arena was first circulated by Mr. Giuliani and President Trump. I want to advise viewers that these statements are completely false and also deeply disturbing.
Tape earlier in the day of Ruby Freeman and Shay Freeman Moss and one other gentleman quite obviously surreptitiously passing around USB ports as if they're vials of heroin or cocaine. I mean, it's obvious to anyone who's a criminal investigator or prosecutor, they are engaged in surreptitious illegal activity again that day. And that's a week ago, and they're still walking around Georgia lying. They should have been questioned already. Their places of work, their homes should have been searched for evidence of ballots, for evidence of USB ports, for evidence of voter fraud.
That video was from Rudy Giuliani's appearance at a Georgia State Senate hearing on December 10. How did you first become aware that Rudy Giuliani, the president's lawyer, was accusing you and your mother of a crime?
I was at work, like always, and the former chief, Mr. Jones, asked me to come to his office. And when I went to his office, the former director, Mr. Barron, was in there, and they showed me a video on their computer. It was just like a very short clip of us working at State Farm, and it had someone on the video like talking over the video, just saying that we were doing things that we weren't supposed to do, just lying throughout the video. And that's when I first found out about it.
And were there social media posts that they showed you responding to those false claims?
Well, when I saw the video, of course, the first thing that I said was like, why? Why are they doing this? What's going on? And they, just told me that Trump and his allies were not satisfied with the outcome of the election, and they were getting a lot of threats and being harassed online, and asked me, have I been receiving anything, and I need to check on my mom. And I told them, I was like, where have they, where have you been getting these threats? I don't believe I have any. And Mr. Jones told me, like, they're attacking his Facebook, and I don't really use Facebook. I have one, so I went to the Facebook app, and I'm just kind of panicky at this point because this has never happened to me, and my mom is involved, and I'm like her only child. So I'm just asking him, like, well, where are the messages? All I see is the feeds. Like, how do you get to the messages? And he said, it's another icon on your phone that says Messenger. And I went to that icon, and it was just a lot of horrible things there.
And those horrible things, did they include threats?
Yes, a lot of threats, wishing death upon me, telling me that, I'll be in jail with my mother, and saying things like, be glad it's 2020 and not 1920.
Were a lot of these threats and vile comments racist in nature?
A lot of them were racist. A lot of them were just hateful. But yes, sir.
In one of the videos we just watched, Mr. Giuliani accused you and your mother of passing some sort of USB drive to each other. What was your mom actually handing you on that video?
A ginger mint.
It wasn't just Rudy Giuliani. We heard President Trump make these false allegations repeatedly during his call with Secretary Raffensperger. Let's listen to a portion of what he had to say about you and your mother.
We had at least 18,000, that's on tape. We had them counted very painstakingly, 18,000 voters having to do with Ruby Freeman. She's a vote scammer, a professional vote scammer and hustler.
Donald Trump attacked you and your mother using her name 18 times on that call. 18 times. Ms. Moss, can you describe what you experienced listening to former President Trump attack you and your mother in a call with the Georgia Secretary of State?
I felt horrible. I felt like it was all my fault. Like, if I would have never decided to be an elections worker, like, I could have done anything else, but that's what I decided to do. And now people are lying and spreading rumors and lies and attacking my mom. I'm her only child. Going to my grandmother's house. I'm her only grandchild. And my kid. It's just, I felt so bad.
Well, boy, I tell you, Miss Moss, I tell you, I feel for her. I feel for her. Well, you know what, Shannon, I feel for everybody who's caught up in this big lie. Everybody who's caught up in this big lie. I mean, you had the Speaker of the House for Arizona, who said he's a Republican, but he would not bow down to breaking his oath in terms of trying to do what Trump wanted to do. Yeah, Mr. Rauschenberger and his assistant that was there talking about how Mr. Trump tried to pressure them into stealing the election for him in Georgia. Then you had Ms. Moss and her mother, Ms. Ruby, who were victified in terms of they were villains, they were crooks, they were stuffing ballots and everything with no proof, no evidence, no proof. The Attorney General, who was the Attorney General here at the time, he resigned soon after because he said there's nothing there. There was nothing there. Nothing there. They taking this little clip trying to show them people doing something that was wrong and improper, and now their lives are messed up because threats have come on their lives like many other have. So Shannon, I've talked about it, and that's how I feel about it. I mean, we've been talking about the insurrection ever since it started January 6th, and we said we're going to stick with this till the battle is over, till it's done. So what do you think, Shannon? What is your opinion of Mrs. Ruby and her daughter and how they were victimized in terms of, they were victimized. They were seen as villains, but they were victimized by Mr. Trump and his lies.
I think it's a daggone shame that Lady Ruby and Miss Moss had to go through that. Shame that Attorney Rudolph Giuliani, the former United States Attorney in the District of New York, the former mayor of New York City, John Gotti, who charged RICO to the United States, to the 5 families throughout New York, and took down the Gambino family, the Colombo crime family, the Bonanno crime family, and all of these other crime families, and yet he's supporting the Trump crime family. I think that this is an absolute fiasco. I don't think anymore we should call it the big lie. At this point, I think that we've seen enough information to call it treason. I think it's treason, and I think that they should be dealt with as the laws of incorporation show that treasoners, those who practice treason, should be dealt with in this country. We know that we have seen the Speaker of the House, of the state of Arizona say that he was not going to go into it. Trump said that the United States Supreme Court would end up defeating their claims 9-0. In other words, they would literally have the entire court voting against them, the United States Supreme Court. And yet this president is still spreading the talking points of treason. I think that's what this is. And I think that the two of them got caught up in it, and several others. And then I want to just go back to something very racist and dog whistle that Giuliani said. He said that they were passing around, he claimed that Ms. Moss and Lady Ruby, who were passing around junk drives, basically, as though they were vials of crack cocaine and cocaine and heroin. I mean, that's dog whistle right there. And what they were passing around was a ginger mint. A ginger mint, the same ginger mint that Lady Ruby gave her daughter as she sat there answering the questions of the special committee on the other day. And so I think that that there's so much in this. There's so much in this. And I want to quote something that my pastor, the United States Senator of Georgia, Reverend Raphael Warnock, used to say all the time, and I adopted it. He said, evil always goes too far.
Too far.
And that's what we're dealing with right now.
Too far.
Evil.
But the American people, when they took the poll, the American people, 58% said that Donald Trump should be tried on a crime. 30-something% said no. But 58% of Americans said that Donald Trump should come up on criminal charges. And out of that 58%, 19% of those people were Republicans. We saw some starched Republicans staying true to their oath of office. We've seen some staunch Republicans who said that we're not going along with trying to turn this country into a dictatorship. We support the Constitution. We gave an oath to the Constitution in our state and the Constitution of America, and we're not going to violate that. And the Lieutenant Governor of Arizona was very adamant about that in his statement and his presentation. And I mean, you know, when you take an oath, you swear to that oath that this is what you're going to do. And if a person, any elected official on any level, violates his or her oath of office, they are brought up on criminal charges. Mr. Trump took his hand, laid his hand on the Bible when he was sworn in that he would uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. But yet, he did everything in his power to try to keep himself in power and violated the Constitution of the United States of America and tried to force other people to do the same thing. And for that reason, he should be brought up, if nothing else, on criminal charges for violating his oath of office. So
Absolutely.
So Shannon, we got more to talk about the insurrection and what happened and what's going on with the insurrection. But one thing I do want to share, and I'm sure that you would want to share too, is this criminalization.
Well, before we go to that, let me say
Okay.
what you just said.
Okay, good.
Trump did put his hand on the Bible,
He did.
and he did swear to uphold the Constitution. But you got to care about the commandments and the Testament, the Old and New Testament of the Bible. And you have to care about the Constitution of the United States to swear to it. One of those things. What he outfits that America has given, that's all he cares about, and that's what he exploits. And he will do whatever he needs to do to continue to exploit that. He believes he's over the Bible and over the law and over the Constitution. And so it's reality to come in and for him to be brought low.
Well, you know, his family members said that. His family members said that he doesn't care about any rules or regulation. He makes his own rules, he makes his own regulations, and he abide by his own and march to his own drum beat. But in this country, there are laws, and there's violation of those laws, and there are penalties for violation of those laws. Ehrlichman, Dean, former President Nixon, when they did the Watergate, they were charged with crimes. President at that time, Nixon, he went on to resign, but yet they had committed a crime. And of course, Dean and Ehrlichman, and they had to be penalized for that. So I mean, and so they are no different. It's no different than Mr. Trump. He should be punished also too. People say, "Well, ain't nothing going to happen to Trump. Ain't nothing going to happen to him." Well, I beg to differ. Something's going to happen to him, because if man doesn't deal with him here on earth, there's a power greater than man that will deal with Mr. Trump and his people who try to do ill things to hurt other people, because God has a day of reckoning for all of us, and his day of judgment shall come, whether it's before the Supreme Court judges, or whether it's before a federal judge, or whether it's before the judge here in Georgia to deal with what D.A. Willis is dealing with his violation of trying to steal election here in Georgia. But with all the things that are coming out, we know that this man is a criminal. He is a criminal in the highest sense of being a criminal, and trying to steal the country. He was trying to steal the country.
And think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it, Bishop Fan. You're a pastor in the community. You go to court with members of your court. You might have some members that may miss a court date.
Right.
And they miss a court date. What happens? A bench warrant is put.
Absolutely.
They are arrested. They stop somewhere and they get arrested. Well, listen, if you're going to arrest someone for failure to appear in court where the law is interpreted and where the law is enforced, then you should really deal with arresting the person into the United States Congress, where laws are created so that they can be interpreted and be enforced. Why should someone allow why should the government allow a president to lead people via his vitriolic speech, allow people to go to the United States Congress, overthrow the process of making of laws, and then arrest people when they don't show up in court where the law is interpreted and where that law is enforced?
Well, you know, it's yet to be seen, but I want to thank Representative Benny Thompson as chair of the committee. He's doing a great job. And Mrs. Cheney, who has put her neck on the line with her party because to hold up the Constitution of the United States of America and all the members of that august body on that January 6th committee, because I think that they're presenting evidence that show that Mr. Trump and some others were in violation of the oath of office, and they should be dealt with as such for violating the oath of office and other crimes of treasonous, as you said. But Shannon, I do want to shift gears just briefly before we go out. I want to talk about another crime that's being proposed to be perpetrated.
Sure.
I am not one. I don't smoke. Tried it when I was a teenager, didn't like it, gave me a headache, so I didn't smoke. But there are many people who do smoke. And there is something coming up in terms of a ruling by the FDA, and the President Biden, I understand, is moving to do away with menthol cigarettes. And many of our people in our community, both black and brown, smoke menthol cigarettes, and criminalizing if you smoke menthol cigarettes, if you're dealing with menthol cigarettes or the flavored cigarettes. And of course, we want to talk about that, Shannon, because that is an injustice too that's being perpetrated on the people. Because if you say to black and brown people, you can't smoke menthol cigarettes, if you do, it's going to be a federal offense, a felony rather, and you're going to go to jail based on a felony. Then now you got a felony record for smoking a cigarette, right? You got a felony record for something they've been letting you smoke and selling for years and years and years. Now you're addicted to it. Now they're going to automatically cut you off by saying, if you smoke it, you're going to jail. If you buy it, if you sell it, you're going to jail. It's really not fair. I mean, I'm not advocating smoking. But I am advocating do what's right. If you're going to stop smoking a menthol, then stop smoking, period. Stop everybody from smoking. Stop selling cigarettes, period. Any cigarette, brand of cigarette. Well, let me see how that's going to go. You got the law enforcement agencies are saying they can't enforce it. I mean, what do you want the police stop and say, oh, is that a menthol cigarette you smoking? Or is that a regular cigarette you smoking? Come on. I mean, it's crazy.
Years before George said, I cannot breathe, there was who was selling Lucy cigarettes.
Yeah.
And he was being...
What's his name, Mike Brown?
Eric Garner.
Okay, Eric Garner, okay.
Eric Garner in New York.
Okay.
And Mike Brown was in Missouri.
Okay.
But Eric Garner was selling Lucy cigarettes. And they called the police. The police came because it's illegal to sell Lucy cigarettes. The cigarette industry is a federal taxable industry. So it is illegal. A certain governance over that. You have to have a certain license to be able to sell tobacco products. You can't just throw tobacco products up. You can't have a lemonade stand and just sell some cigarettes on the side. You have to have licensing for that. He was selling Lucy cigarettes, you may remember, and the police came, attacked him, threw him on the ground. He said, I cannot breathe. And he died for selling Lucy cigarettes. Now, the selling of the Lucy cigarettes was illegal. Should he have lost his life for that? No.
Right.
But in an Eric Garner-esque kind of way, this is what the FDA is doing. Million people the FDA allowed to be addicted, said nothing about it. And now 85% of those who smoke menthol cigarettes are African Americans, so they will bring this ban in, which will make it criminal. In 50 states, it will be criminal smoke a menthol cigarette. In 44 states, it will be a felony. In 30 of those 50 states, it would be a crime that calls for mandatory sentencing. It will create a pipeline to the prison industrial complex. And so we are not pro-cigarette, as you said, Bishop Fan.
No.
But we are anti. We are these ill-produced policies that force our people into mass incarceration. We're anti that. And the black clergy are busy trying to reform and strengthen our communities. We're trying to preach Christ and to our community, of our people and our communities. We want to see eventually a reduction of our prison ministries, and we want to see the expansion of our marriage ministries and family-related ministries and entrepreneurial ministries and all of the things, spiritual development. And this kind of law for Mr. Biden, this enforcement would create a touch point so that the police can profile people for just having a cigarette. Them smoking a menthol, have a way to put them directly into the prison industrial complex immediately. We cannot stand for this.
We're going to be talking more about this because law enforcement and many, many other agencies have signed on and have said this will criminalize black and brown people. The police say it's going to be hard to enforce. I mean, there's so many things that go along with this in terms of menthol cigarettes and those flavored cigarettes that many people buy at these service stations that they sell, that they want to stop, that people are addicted to. So, but we're gonna be talking more about that right here on Straight Talk. You'll hear more about it. And if you don't know about it, hey, what you do, you can call us. You can call us. That number, I'll have it on the screen. That 470 number, 289-11. I think it's 117. Well, I'll have it on the screen. I'll put it up. And so you can call us to get more information and more detail about what's going on with the menthol issue and situation. And Shannon and I and the other ministers, we are definitely not supporting smoking. No means we're supporting smoking, but we're supporting injustice being perpetrated upon the people when you have addicted them to these things, and now you want to penalize them and put them in prison because of what you have addicted them to, right? So don't you go nowhere. You stay tuned to Straight Talk with yours truly, Great Fan, the Preacher Man, and yours truly, Shannon Jones. Well, yours, Shannon. What's your name is? Oh, Shannon E. Jones. The man that's out there.
Shannon Jones.
The man out there in the wild. Today. Hey, listen. Just stay tuned. Don't just keep this to yourself. Share it with others. Share this kind of information with others. And Shannon and I are going to be talking to you about some things that we're going to be doing in the future. And we're going to need your support. You lend your voice to do these things. That if you think it's wrong to criminalize people who smoke menthol cigarettes, not smoking, because we're not for smoking, but criminalize one group of people who smoke menthol cigarettes and flavored cigarettes over people who just smoke regular cigarettes, when we know that it causes heart disease and all these other diseases, but they ain't stopping people from that, but they want to stop our people from smoking menthol cigarettes. If you think it's wrong, give us a call. If you think we're wrong, then give us a call too. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your comments and what you have to say, because we're going to be on this issue and we ain't going nowhere. Well, until next week, you've been in tune to nothing but what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fan at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shannon Jones and Greg Fan, the Preacher Man.